MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else.
Folks, I am on cloud 9 right now because Trump is in the dumps and MAGA is on the outs. Despite bringing together a wide coalition of right-wing degenerates, morons, and rubes, it looks like the straw that finally broke Trump's back was him on Brokeback Mountain with old Bubba Bill. All jokes aside, there are a bunch of reasons why MAGA is setting their hats on fire, and I'll show you where all the pieces seem to be falling. Be sure to subscribe to Really American, and let's jump right into it. Over the last few days, we have seen a barrage of posts on social media that look just like this one. This is from user From Convict to Conservative, a message to Donald Trump. I stood in the cold at your rallies. I bought your merch. I donated to your campaign. I took your side over family members just to have you safeguard pedophiles and put Americans last. You could not pay me money to post something as embarrassing as this on my timeline, openly admitting that you are taking the side of a literal predator over your actual family members just to get burned. And to this guy, I say, that's what you voted for. That's certainly what Trump would say. He's very much aware of the fact that his grasp on American politics is waning. And as we near the midterms, Trump is entering his lame duck era, which is signaling to all of the buzzards flying around him that now is the time to start positioning themselves in order to rip MAGA apart once it's well and truly dead. A fact that Trump can probably feel as he sits in the White House crying while listening to Phantom of the Opera.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Now, there are three major factions that I see MAGA breaking into, and I think they're well illustrated in this tweet by Jordan Weissman. He writes, "You're starting to see how some Republicans are positioning themselves as an alternative to Vance by creating space with the admin. Cruz going hard on Groypers, MTG going hard on Epstein, and Rand Paul genuinely acting like a libertarian. So you got your Groypers, those are mostly younger white Christian nationalists who are being led by the likes of Nick Fuentes. You've got your libertarians like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, who clung to Trump first because of his populist messaging, but are now abandoning him after stunts like the public land sale that was in the BBB and the hemp ban that was shoved into the CR bill. And of course, lastly, you have the Tea Party 2.0, led by Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nancy Mace, conspiracy theory nut jobs who are really the trailblazers of being batshit insane. But Epstein is the ultimate conspiracy." And I wanted to dive into these three different factions a little bit deeper. We'll do Marge first, since she is a favorite laughing stock on this channel, where I do say that I have to give respect for her is that she doesn't seem to be letting go of these Epstein files being released, despite the all-in-out barrage from Trump and what remains of the MAGA hive mind. And this steadfastness is paying off for her. State Republicans in Georgia have issued the following statement in full and unwavering support of their duly elected representative, Marjorie Taylor Greene. "We stand for her today, tomorrow, and for as long as she continues to serve this district and uphold its values." As this user Hail Hydra said, "It's going to be pretty funny when neither Massie nor MTG gets unseated. Trump's endorsement, or lack thereof, doesn't seem to have the weight that it used to. And where I lose all of that newly gained respect for her is where she seems to almost pathologically be unable to see that Trump is hiding these files on purpose because he is in the files. Mance, Marge, Boebert, they're all going along with this narrative that Trump is just too baby-brained to understand that not releasing the files makes him look guilty, because he just has to be innocent, right?"
Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
What can I say? The Tea Party was never known for their brains. But at the same time, I can say that for the Groypers. I mean, what group would name themselves something that sounds like gropers? But we are talking about dudes who look like this, after all. These people may seem inconsequential, but that massive youth vote that went to Trump in the 2024 election, yeah, they're all listening to this guy, and he is not too happy with Trump.
And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were.
This America First movement has been cannibalizing MAGA for a while now, sort of like the worm inside of RFK Jr.'s brain. And they're taking advantage of the uncertainty that all of us are feeling right now because of the rising prices and Trump's economy, and using that to convert red hats into blue ones. But, you know, not our kind of blue. I had to remove the copyright music that she was playing, but I replaced it with clown music because I thought that was fitting. Now, while I am glad that MAGA is deteriorating, especially among the youth, what the Groypers long for is a misogynistic, racist, theocratic hellhole reminiscent of the Dark Ages. So these folks who are trading in their MAGA hats for their America First hats, yeah, they're the ones who are going to be public enemy number one after all of this is said and done. The last major faction of the broken MAGA movement are the free-thinking libertarians. Those in the MAHA movement, for example, or those who wave those, like, guns and weed flags. All of those gullible, naive knuckle-draggers are finding themselves looking like Boo Boo the Fool after Trump has completely abandoned any notion that he is looking out for our personal health or our freedoms. In an almost perfect 1-2 punch to the libertarians, the funding bill that Congress and Trump just pushed through was filled to the brim with poison pills aimed directly at clean water and food and hemp. I did a video about how dirty the Clean CR bill was, so go check that out after this one. But now these MAGA losers are not so sure that this is what they voted for. Like Evan Kilgore, who said the government just fucked up my family's livelihood. But when Trump was pushing out his disastrous tariffs, here's Evan Kilgore saying, yes, I voted for this. We are so back. Or when Trump started to tear down the White House, here comes Evan Kilgore. This is what I voted for. So I am happy to join the chorus against this asshole and say, this is exactly what you voted for. Tim Dillon, a podcaster who's very popular with the right wing, is outright saying it himself. This is the end of MAGA. This Epstein thing, mixed with the kneecapping that our economy took from Trump's tariffs, it's just too much to keep the Trump MAGA dream alive.
Let's look at Trump here. And I do think, unfortunately, this kind of is the end of, and I say unfortunately, not because I care, truly, but I say unfortunately because it seems to not be doing anything good for anyone. This is the end of the Trump administration. This is the beginning of the lame duck presidency. It's obvious to everyone, even his most ardent supporters show up to the White House, like Laura Ingraham, and she's kind of shocked, going, what the hell's going on? Now we'll start, 3 years of talking about the ballroom. He will trail off. He will get older. He's adorned the White House in gold. Epstein's going to suck the oxygen out of a lot of this. We're going to talk about that a little later on.
The writing is on the wall, and the experts are giving the forecast. Newsweek had an excellent article this week called "Trump is Losing His Grip on MAGA." In this article, they talked to Peter Loge, a professor of media and public affairs at George Washington University, who said, "I think the MAGA base is splitting. Donald Trump will never lose his core support, but what it means to be MAGA or a true Republican is now suddenly being debated." Loge, a former senior advisor to President Obama, told Newsweek that the combination of snafus embroiling the administration rather than any one specific issue seems to indicate that Trump might be losing his footing. "We connect the dots to make pictures, and the recent dots include Epstein, the election, the courts being very skeptical of Trump's tariff policies, increasing economic insecurity, falling poll numbers," he said. "These bits of information, these dots, paint a picture of a presidency in trouble. This is the beginning of the end for MAGA. It's possible that Trump will find a way to stitch this crumbling coalition back together, but I think chances are that his best days are well behind him. And what we have in store for us will resemble one of those nature documentaries where you see the old lion getting pushed out of the pride and left to fend for himself. Sad. Be sure to subscribe to Really American for all the news that Trump hates to hear. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.